Yes, you read the title and I'm not gonna waste your time, but I suggest watching the IRL vid I made before this to kinda grasp the concept of this more easily. The PPLL, or the Physically Possible Levels list, is a Google form made in 2021 that ranks the hardest physically possible levels in Geometry Dash. Now what does that mean? Well, the ILL only includes levels that are physically possible for a human to beat. Will anyone ever beat them? Hell no! Now, the PPLL has levels that don't have to be humanly possible. The rules for the PPLL are all bugs and exploits are taken into account and can be required to complete a level, and all levels are assumed to be running on an infinite lasting supercomputer that can run any frame rate perfectly. Certain real-world laws are ignored when determining physical possibility. Clicks can be faster than the speed of light, or levels can be longer than the depth of the universe. Only the physical possibility matters. Oh, and levels must be harder than the current ILL top 1. What this means is that levels can be as long as they want or have as many clicks per second as they want, as long as the level can theoretically be beaten by a bot by playing perfectly, which means you can't make a jump that's physically impossible. Now the rules are the same as last time, but I removed the first rule of having to be possible in 2.2. Since I mean, come on, these levels are impossible for any human to beat. The two rules are no removed levels and no overrated levels. With that said, let's showcase every PPLL top 1 in Geometry Dash. The very first top 1 on the PPLL is 3 seconds hell times 281,474,976,710,656 by Blanket Addict. Now to briefly explain this level, the player UFWM would verify his challenge titled 3 Second Hell on the 27th of September 2016. Now, as the name suggests, this is a 3-second wave challenge. Fast forward a few years and in 2021, Blanket Addict would take this level and use some triggers to extend the length of this level to an extreme amount. I know you're wondering how he did it, and that's the thing. I don't know either. Trying to understand how this was done hurts my brain, but basically, Blanket Addict made it so that you need to complete this level this amount of times, which will take just over 29 million years. Now this is insane, but it's only gonna get crazier. The next PPLL top 1 is Conics Never Clear by Yaboy Mega. This is legit just the same thing as last time, but there is some story to tell, so I can say something. In April 2020, the player Bo would create a 15-second challenge titled VSC, which he hacked, but then got verified legit in September 2021 by the player Yusarian. Now, Yaboy Mega took the same mechanism that Blanket Addict used in the previous level and copy-pasted it here. But VSC is harder than 3 Second Hell, so I guess it's harder, despite having to complete both levels the exact same amount of times. Coming up is Nessus by Scub and Mool. Now I'm pretty sure you're wondering, what makes this level so hard? Well, this level requires you to click 537,603,333,333 times per second for 13,298,187,793,420 vigintillion years, which is a number that has 77 digits. Vigintillion is 10 to the power of 63. Do you remember when I said there could be as many CPS as you wanted? This is what I meant. This level stayed at number 1 for 346 days before the next level. Next is PPLL Life by Roxy and Moore. So basically, many of you know the level High Life by Miguel Word, and how Kurmar verified a buffed version called Low Death. Well, the cycle kept going and PPLL life was created. Now, if you know Low Death, you'll know there's a couple unhinged jokes in the level. Well, take Low Death and make it impossible and add 10 times more jokes and you get PPLL life. This level requires you to click 4,327,749 times per second for 1 times 10 to the power of 16,900 Google years. If you're confused on what Google is, well, Google is 10 to the power of 100. These numbers are exceeding far outside our realm of understanding, and we aren't even finished yet.
Being creative.
First came here, we were cold and we were clear. Our colors on our skin, say you let us back in. Say my name, and every time you illuminate, we are shining, and we will never forget. Say my in every color illuminate, we are shining, and we will never be afraid again. Say my in every color illuminate, we are shining, and we will never be afraid again.
Up next is I Miss HLL by Vanya M1 and whatever this name is, I don't know. This level requires 2 clicks per second for 3.517 times 10 to the power of 10,100,790 Google years. To make this a bit easier to understand, this number has 10,100,791 digits in it. I can't even begin to comprehend these numbers, bro. The next level to become number 1 is Eternal Peter by Furious. This level requires you to click 480 times per second for 2.594 times 1 trillion 52 billion 147 million 300,000 and 677 Googleplex years, which is a number with 52,147,300,000 and 678 digits. Googleplex means 10 to the power of 1 million, 10,100. I am at a loss for words for how big these numbers are getting. And finally, the last level on this list, Zernitra by Yaboy Mega and more. This level requires you to click 240,000 times per second for 3.17 times 10 to the power of 77 quadrillion 125 trillion 323 billion 451 million 713,273 Googleplex years. This number has 77 quadrillion 125 trillion 323 billion 451,713,276 digits in it. To put that into comparison, if each digit were an atom, it would take all the atoms in the universe 1 vigintillion times over to have enough space to write this number in full. And I bet you forgot that all of this was done inside Geometry Dash, the game that started out like this. And these levels aren't even considered impossible. Well, much like the ILL video, I hope I was able to accurately demonstrate every PPLL Top 1 in Geometry Dash. Once again, please point out the mistakes I made in a calm way, and I'll acknowledge it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.